welcome everyone. Welcome to Tourism Tech Summit for the second day of Tourism Tech Summit. Today we will have a lot of discussions about the future of tourism. It's the day where we will finally talk with all the startups and you will have the chance to discuss with us on the comment sections about the future of tourism and about how things will change in this industry. And to start that, we will start with a really cool discussion about how artificial intelligence and machine learning will impact the global tourism. Okay, and in order to do it, we will have Adomas from EdiTravel, we will have Gabriel from Ivy and Fabian from Ivy also, and we will have Andrew. Okay, from Shilwai or Visitants Vault as we call it inside the program. I will let Andrew tell you about that in a few minutes. And before we start the discussion itself about artificial intelligence and about how everything will change in the tourism industry because of machine learning and AI, I think that probably it's a good idea for you to present yourself and present your startup, okay? Maybe, Adomas, maybe you can start with EdiTravel?
Sure, with pleasure.
Okay.
So hi, everyone. I will share my screen and tell you more about EdiTravels.
Okay. Okay. We have your screen now.
Wonderful. So I'm Adomas, co-founder of EdiTravels, the AI travel assistant. So over half of Europeans are planning to travel for holidays this summer already. Yes, people are eager to return to travel after the pandemic. But the tourism boards and organizations are not ready to capitalize on it. The websites are often outdated and mobile unfriendly. Most are not optimized to help travelers actually plan and book a trip. It's a huge inconvenience for travelers and a massive lost opportunity for tourism organizations. Luckily, there's EdiTravels, your artificial intelligence AI travel assistant, available 24/7, responding instantly, and offering the best travel deals worldwide. It is powered by our cutting-edge technology for natural language understanding, which means that after you send a message, the AI assistant will automatically understand what you're looking for, whether it's flights, hotels, tours and activities, or other services. We also integrated some of the world's best companies, such as Booking.com, Priceline, Kiwi.com, and others, with millions of offers. Our business model is that we receive an affiliate commission for any sales we generate for them. Over 4 million people have already used EdiTravels to plan their trips. In our best month, we had 600,000 conversations and 50,000 euros in revenue. And last year, even with the coronavirus raging around the world, we raised an investment round of 1.1 million euros to develop EdiTravels further and make it truly global. It was made possible by our superstar team of senior product designers, software and machine learning engineers. Edmundas, CEO, sold his previous startup to a multi-billion company in the US. Pranas, CTO, led the development of a machine learning startup based in LA. And I help my clients generate over $30 million in revenues. And we're excited to share that EdiTravels is now available to any travel or tourism organization for free. The AI assistant can be integrated on any website or application as an easy-to-use chat widget. It is free, customizable, works great on mobile, and can be fully white-labeled. It can help tourism organizations highlight sustainable transportation, accommodation, or activities, and promote conscious traveling. And most importantly, we offer revenue sharing for any sales generated, allowing tourism websites to monetize their traffic better while helping tourists. So just in the last few weeks, we launched such integrations in Qatar, Lithuania, Portugal, and even Vanuatu. And eventually, the AI assistant can be integrated into thousands of tourism organization websites, travel blogs, and even airports in Portugal and around the world. So today, we want to partner with Portuguese tourism organizations and help attract more travelers to Portugal. Thank you, and let's accelerate the travel industry recovery together.
Thank you, Adamas. It's really nice to know that EdiTravel is there to help the tourism companies. And Gabriel and Fabian, what can you tell us about Ivy? I don't know which one of you will will present Ivy.
I will do. I will do.
Okay. So Fabian, you are sharing your screen right now.
And you see my presentation, yes?
Yeah, sure. Just
Excellent.
Just click on hide. Yeah.
Excellent.
Okay, perfect.
Excellent. My name is Fabian, and I'm the founder and CEO of Infinito, which is home to Ivy, our virtual revenue management assistant. Now, revenue management is the area of making more money, essentially. Oh, hang on 1 second. This should not have happened.
Online events.
I'm terrible.
Online events always happen.
Online events, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
It's all happening. So that's on mouse click. I do apologize for that, but nothing more than really using technology.
Actually, we'll have a full discussion about how the events will change in a few hours. So
Yes.
we have a topic now. Continue.
Fantastic. So essentially, we are working with hotels in the B2B sector, helping them in the revenue management area. And there's a huge need for it. We have a lack of revenue management talent, which was just exponentially grown throughout COVID by having less people or less skilled staff actually doing more complex tasks. And then there's the adoption of the revenue management software that is just not happening. So you have 80+% of hotels who do not use software that helps them increase their revenues. Now, when we look at the traditional way of doing it, is we're taking a lot of data, we're throwing it into a black box, and then we're coming out with a forecast, a price, and maybe some restrictions. And all of that we then give to the user. So how come we're leaving the user by themselves? If we're doing all of those optimization and the user still has to say yes or no, isn't the optimization just as good as the user? So we're leaving a lot of it to chance or playing the lottery. So we want to democratize revenue management and help our users just get better at optimizing. Now, if you're a super geek or you really enjoy it, you can look at data and you really can get lost in it. But not everybody will understand data. But everybody will understand slight elevator pitches. And then just like you have in social media, little comments that nudge you along the way and change your behavior for the better. Why is our approach ahead of the competition? Because more and more companies are realizing that data is just not enough to understand the world. The human factor is what we need to truly optimize, because the system will only know the data it gets given. So if you don't give it certain data sets, it will never know those exist. And it's working. So on the right-hand side, you can see our virtual analyst Ivy in action, really clicking through and allowing you to drill down as far as you like. We've seen top line growth, we've seen efficiency gains, and more beautifully, the higher the engagement, the higher ROI. And it's to a certain extent, really, users are going in 15, 20 times a day and really starting to Netflix their revenue management from an on-demand perspective. We're about 2 years old. We doubled throughout COVID from 400 to 800 hotels, and now in about 15 countries and have about 30 plus system connections. We put 150 hotels live yesterday in about 2 hours. And we have another 25, 30 hotels that we need to put live before the end of the week. So we're really excited to be in Portugal, and I'm now moving to Europe in order to help Gabriel drive the expansion across Europe and in Portugal specifically. And with that, thank you very much.
Thanks, Fabian. And what about you, Andrew? What can you tell us about your company? Maybe you can start by explaining why this visitants vote and she like
Oh, that was just simply me trying to speak Portuguese when I'm not very good at it. But I'm learning to use local knowledge more than anything. So I'm going to share my screen.
Yeah, don't worry about that.
Where is it here? You can see my screen okay?
And just, yeah, okay. Yeah.
The global pandemic has transformed travel and tourism, forcing organizations to reimagine how they compete. Those able to better engage and guide visitors will recover faster, Those continuing to do what they've always done will not recover as fast, if at all. A data revolution is underway, and travel and tourism organizations can't miss out. While mobile devices are increasingly used by visitors for travel inspiration, levels of satisfaction in the discovery process have dropped 15% in the past 5 years. Navigating prescriptive websites needs to be replaced by online experiences that deliver highly personalized recommendations. Today, I invite you to imagine a new world of tourism, where visitors are treated as individuals, each with their own interests, desires, and passions. Traditionally, travel planning has involved hours of searching on numerous websites, a process that is inefficient and impersonal. With our technology, trip planning results in itineraries unique to each individual based on their location and how they feel in a given moment. Several years ago, our team asked a fundamental question: how can AI guide decision-making in a way that's more human-like? Based on algorithms trained on over 1 million real-world interactions, we've created a disruptive AI that understands the emotions associated with different experiences, allowing companies like DMOs, airports, and hotels to offer highly individualized service while tapping into deeper visitor journey insights. Say hello to Evie, human-centric AI presented as either a digital human or a simple avatar. Unlike traditional click and filter search, Evie offers discovery without searching. Easily and quickly integrated with any website, Evie is a next-generation concierge acting as a superhuman local. With touch and voice functionality, she first understands a person's context, emotional state, and interests, and then combines deep and broad destination knowledge to deliver, in real time, individual-specific trip recommendations, from local restaurants to visit, to hotels to stay at, to things to do. To be clear, Evie is not a chatbot. She's much smarter, offering discovery unique to each individual based on where they are, how they feel, and how they respond to different options she presents. For travel and tourism organizations, Evie gives them what they need: more insights, faster recovery, and a broader spread of revenue across a city or region. Apart from connecting interests with intentions, Evie drives conversions 24/7. This translates into more visitors, deeper destination discovery, and increased spending. We're Chilwell AI, and our technology is world-changing. We look forward to helping Portugal lead the future of tourism, building back smarter to drive more balanced economic development. Thank you.
You are welcome, Andrew. Okay, so now I will head everyone here to the screen. And you know what, guys? Let's start with a simple question. It's like I would like to make these discussions like more like a talk and not that much like a lecture. So let's start with some questions, and you can go and answer when you feel that you can add value. It doesn't need to be in a strict order. But let's start with with the human side. It's something that we not discuss that much when we discuss the artificial intelligence and when we discuss machine learning. It's like there are a lot of people that when we talk about machine learning and about artificial intelligence ask us about the human side. It's like, after all, tourism, it's about persons, right? People, and how people connect. What do you think about this human side of the artificial intelligence and of the machine learning? What will be the role of the humans when all of this is being totally developed?
Well, if I can start, I mean, I think that it's fundamental. It's fundamental to what we've created. It's very much about how humans think, how we work. Artificial intelligence has been very much about making things more productive and efficient, and where it hasn't gone to is making it more personal. And that's what we've been focusing on in terms of training our algorithms and first understanding the emotional component of how those connect with different experiences, and then using the power of AI to do that at scale to then help in the predictive process.
Okay. I think there's two parts that we need to understand here, right? Number one is AI, when it started, was very much data-centric. right? So we're taking huge data sets that had statistics. Then we kind of said, okay, the statistics we're starting with a hypothesis and then go about it. So AI added a new kind of layer to it. What we haven't done is human-centric AI, right? And I think that's the same as was just said. It's about how can we enhance the human to essentially be better, right? It comes with its own challenges, right? Ethical questions. What kind of standards do we want? Do we want the AI all of a sudden to have some kind of giggles? Do we want the AI to turn around and say like, you know what, today I don't want to work, right? So there's still a lot of stuff that people want the answers for, but we haven't even gone there, right? It's stuff that we need to start and understand fully, and it will change over time, right? But it's a human-led industry, but many parts are actually, if you think about it, not really human-centric. Finance, right, sits in the back office. Revenue management, marketing, distribution, like Eddie Travels also does, right? It's stuff where you can automate a process and then use AI to either create a better experience or, like we do, enhance the human decision making. So you as a human can then go to your next job and become better. You can go and grow and make more money and live a better life, versus you switch the AI off, the AI doesn't care, right?
And I think there was a great point made about the experiences. So I think travel and tourism is actually more about experiences that you have while traveling, and yes, the people that you meet or the places that you see, that you visit. And AI can enhance that process in all of the different stages. So before the trip, how do you find the best travel offers? How do you learn about the destination? How do you plan and book a trip? During the trip, how do you navigate, different how do you travel and how do you experience that new country or destination? And of course, afterwards. So how companies could analyze it and how could they improve the processes, look into the data and analytics, and just build a much better experience for everyone throughout the entire process.
Gabriel, what do you think?
I feel like that one of the hard limits of AI that people rarely address is that an AI is not able to change its own objective, right? And this is where humans become absolutely necessary. At the end of the day, an AI or any form of machine learning or AI can only fulfill the objectives that were given to it. Now, maybe there's like a tree decision, maybe there's multiple objectives given certain criteria, but it's never going to go outside of those pre-programmed objectives. And so humans in that sense are completely necessary, not only as the object or the person whose life or process has to be improved on, but also as a necessary component to the AI to make that AI better, to build upon it. So you have that kind of cycle there, right, of continuous improvement between both the machine portion, but also the human portion.
I totally agree with you, but yeah, it's nice to see that more or less all of you agree. And tell me something. Let's move to another topic that it's always interesting to discuss here. What do you think is the limit? Because actually, AI and machine learning are able now to make things that we just dreamed like some years ago, and things are moving really fast. What do you think is the limit of AI and machine learning in the tourism industry? You know that one day they will be here like making the pitch instead of you or something like that. What do you think that will be? How far we will go? How do you think that AI and machine learning will be like in, let's say, 20 years, 200 years from now?
Well, I think it's hard.
Question, right?
I mean, it's hard to predict the future, but we know that we're just accelerating now, and that in the next 10 years we're going to see more progress than we saw in the previous 100 years. Humans are always going to be involved, but I think with the deep learning that's coming as part of the development of AI, it's limitless. The way in which it can be applied to make the human experience better. And for us, it's about making that human experience more human, offering better connection between humans and understanding each other better.
Yeah.
I think we need to be, at the moment, we're in the baby stages of AI, right? We've scratched the surface, we do really cool things. But at a certain point in time, and I think we're starting to ask those questions right now, is, as I mentioned earlier, about ethics, right? The second thing is then, you could argue, are we going to have a singularity point in time, right?
Yeah, sure.
Is there a point in time when the machine is taking over and we kind of have the Terminator scenario, right? Or are we going to really make it human-centric to build in something that it drives humanity forward? Because I truly believe we don't even know what it means to be human, right? Because all we're doing is we're getting so caught up in life that we're actually forgetting to live life, right? And if we can use AI in order to do certain things from us or for us, so that I can live a better life, and monetary values and other values are down, but we're really re-examining to say, what is it actually that we as humans want to be, right? Is a game, a perfect game between two AIs, actually fun? No, it's not, because it's predictable, right? Would you rather watch a football game where all of a sudden you have somebody streaking through the screen, right? Because you kind of go like, whoa, that was unexpected, right? Those kind of things wake you up and kind of make you realize there's a lot of stuff we want AI to do, but we shouldn't forget that humanity should be at the part of it, and it should always be held to a standard to drive us forward as a species. Yeah, we have so much to do. Better oceans, right? Better life, better just climate, whatever you want to say. And it's the same for tourism, right? Who says that the tourism of the future is not in your living room, right? You already have Samsung that has, or other ones that have these huge rooms that you can go in, or you have these, what are they called? Where you can do the 3D games fully in virtual reality and run around and shoot other people, right? All of that is already happening. So imagine you can sit at home and say, I really want that massage from my favorite person that sits in Bali, right? And the Bali person, for some reason, was able to transform that into an AI and through haptic feedback and more, was able to simulate that at your house. Tourism will forever be changed. Why go to Portugal if Portugal can be in your living room? That's 200 years from now. We'll still get there.
Can't taste wine that way.
Yeah. Makes sense.
It's already possible to use AI in terms of natural language understanding to create text. If you feed them a lot of information, millions of conversations, or from movies or from books, you can even have a chatbot that you can speak with. But at the end, I think it's in the travel and tourism industry, it's more about the actual value and the utility that you can get from the AI assistants. And that's where you have to do more kind of the back-end work. So, for example, we are building our travel knowledge base, where you integrate all of the different locations and cities and districts and airports and airport codes and whatnot. We're also striving to integrate all of the travel offers so that people can ask for flights, hotels, and other services and get it in a few seconds, as if they were speaking with a live travel agent. But when you said about the limits, in a sense, the more you offer to a user, the more that he can do, the more he expects, and the more he asks. So every single day, there will be some new queries. There will be some new, some people that will ask for something that is not yet added, or that hasn't been thought about by the developers, something that has to be improved on. So I think every single day, the line is shifting ever further. And we are just trying our best to make it kind of the AI assistant the best that we can.
I think, Fernando, one of the items we can't forget as well is AI is always written by a human to start off with.
Sure.
Right? So you'll be given data sets as Gabriel said, and it's given an objective, right? And then off you go learn, kind of thing, right? And then yes, you can go into the different subfields, but in a nutshell, somebody still started that machine learning algorithm to kick off this, right?
Yeah.
And that's fundamentally at its core still human, right? So
Yeah.
it will be flawed at this point in time until computers start writing code for other computers. And I think we have only seen that at Google right now. And so far it's still contained to them.
Yeah, no, yeah, makes sense. Well, speaking about Google, I don't know if you know that urban legend. There was an urban legend, I don't know if it's true or not, some years ago, that told that once upon a time, Google just started to make announcements and Google Ads to some lady about things for childs for newborn childs, and she thought, oh no, this is really strange. But at some point, like 2 weeks before that, she discovered she was pregnant. So actually, the Google algorithms, it's the urban legend, could predict based on her behavior, her searches, or her behavior on internet, could predict that she was pregnant before she even and then it said, the urban legend says that Google needed to adapt the algorithms a little bit because it was kind of weird for the human side, to have that much prediction. Even before we could know it, the computers already started to react to our behavior, and it just like slow down the things a little bit on the prediction side. And we was speaking about Google, and I would like to have your opinion about if you think that something like this can happen in the AI and the machine learning applied in the tourism. So that eventually I will start to receive like announcements to like go to Italy even before I know that I want to go to Italy, for example, or that based on your behavior you like this kind of music, so probably you will like this hotel, not that one, because this is based on your behavior. You don't know that yet, but you will like this one more. And I don't know. Do you think that this will happen? How will this impact the tourism industry?
It'll most likely happen.
That urban legend is becoming a reality,
Yeah.
In terms of the predictive power of AI. We're able to now understand what an individual's interests and emotions are at the moment, and therefore what they are likely to choose. So you're talking about Google. Google assumes that you know what you're searching for.
Yeah.
However, what it doesn't offer is the opportunity to search for things or discover things that you don't know how to search for or what to search for. And that's where Chillwall AI and our technology is coming forward in terms of understanding humans as humans and essentially offering emotional intelligence in a machine and AI in a box that helps us predict how individuals are going to decide and help them in that decision-making process.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Tim.
Go ahead. Okay.
I think bouncing off the. Okay.
No.
I think bouncing off the previous question, but also this question, there are a couple of main facts that we have to keep in mind.
Yeah.
One of the first things is that humanity is very much in its technological adolescence. So there's still a long way to go. And if you're looking far into the future, things that are kind of a little bit of a stretch now will definitely be able to happen, right? In the near, maybe 10, 20 years future maximum, maybe before.
Yeah.
We haven't talked at all about quantum computing, but it's a big thing that's up and coming now, and it's going to make the size of the data sets a non-issue. Any size of data set, once quantum computing comes to a certain level of maturity, will most likely make the size of your data set a non-issue. It will make the format of the problem you're posing an issue. You're going to have to be very much more clear about how you're posing the problem, and it's going to probably change the face of the way we look at computing. But I do think that it will make that whole predictive aspect trivial, as long as we have the data, right? And most likely, I mean, I don't know if it's an urban legend or not in regards to Google, but as long as there's a pattern and that pattern is reliable, then we can predict it, right? Doesn't really matter.
Well, here's the thing, right? So, it's not an urban legend. It was Target in the US, and it was a 16-year-old girl. That's the scary part. And we're talking years back, right? But do you remember the last time you were talking to somebody about something, and then all of a sudden you go on your computer, and for some bizarre reason, Facebook has those ads. And Instagram all of a sudden comes with those things, and you kind of think like, is Google listening to me? Right, you're on camera, by the way. Is essentially you have this data over and over again that will give you and push you into a certain, how do you call that, direction that you subconsciously already do. So it feels really weird and kind of like a deja vu, but your pattern has changed. What we haven't really cracked right now is multi-dimensional, how do you call that? Personas that you have, right? So you have Gabriel the father, Gabriel the husband, Gabriel the boy, Gabriel the man, right? And in certain, I always say, assume Gabriel is a vegan and we go through Portugal, right? So an AI that now wants to make recommendation to us needs to figure out, okay, who's the dominant one in our relationship, so that I don't say like, come on people, go eat steak, right? Yeah. Because it may be really upsetting. And I think that stuff, there's still so much to do that the context will come in, but every time we go there, it's going to feel really, really weird.
Yeah, and that's another nuance to that is the context and where they are and how they're feeling. And if I look at the work that we have done over the last number of years, it's to look at, in terms of travel, those, let's say it's 17 personas in travel, and doing testing within a real world environment on, well, what does it mean to go to a vineyard and taste wine? What are the emotions associated with that? And also understanding that somebody looking for a travel experience on one day when they're sick or tired or hungover is going to be very different from the next day when they're looking for something exciting to do and they're with a family or with their partner and they're in a whole new environment. So I think one has to allow for a lot more variables in terms of how we tap into that predictive power of AI going forward.
I agree as well. I think it will be a lot about finding a balance, how we are using the data and how we connect that to the personalization, because still the personalization using machine learning will come from averages. And when you have, even if it's millions of data sets, for some people, there will always be outliers in that data set. And for some people, the personalizations that we might give, they might shock them or might disappoint them. I would love to receive a ping, a notification, and we're working towards that as well. That if the weather is good and if there is a public holiday and the AI assistant knows my preferences, I would just get a notification with a few hotels, and I would click book, and I would have my weekend planned. That would be great. But if there was some unforeseen changes in my work or in my family, the suggestion might be really irrelevant, or it might be even hurtful. So I think the travel industry is moving towards that. We want to help people actually plan the trips as easy and as conveniently as possible, and we'll have to navigate it and see what is the most effective but still truthful and positive way to do that.
Now, Fernando, we see a lot of the AI in the B2C space, right? Focusing on the consumer, helping them out better experiences. We took the opposite approach, and we're actually focusing on the person that makes the decisions, right? Because they also have emotions. They also, as Andrew said, might be hangover, right? And the AI should then turn around and say, listen, something is not quite right with you this morning, right? The decisions that you're producing are not good. I'm not going to say it's going to the next step and say like, hey, let's talk about it, right? But
well, eventually, it's the
it's the counselor, right? But we are essentially looking from this perspective, say everybody has a bad day, but that doesn't mean your decisions need to be bad, right? And where we look at it is, we have thousands and thousands of users that are all doing exactly the same thing in different markets, across different segments, across whatever, but we are able to bring them together and understand, A, what is your baseline and your pattern behavior, and then how do you act with other ones to kind of create this super interacting pattern or algorithms that will then help you through, I don't want to say social proof, but help you. Even like if Fernando wants to run a hotel, but Fernando has no idea how to run a hotel, why shouldn't the software say, okay, Fernando, let me help you, right? First, let's look at how you normally make decisions, and then we'll give you nudges to the right area, right? So while we're applying it a lot in the B2C space, you can also put it into the B2B space so that the person making that decision is equally optimized.
Makes sense. Guys, we really need to move on. The time flies when we are having fun. We need to move on to some questions of the audience. Unfortunately, we will not have time to make all the questions, okay? But I will choose some, okay? And we can start here. It's like we have started to discuss this, but Christina says that she would like to know your opinion. If you don't think that the idea may lead to not having human contact in the future and losing a basic part of experience that use human contact. And she says that, for example, feeling lost in the street and asking a local for an address where you learn that language, their way of expressing their kindness or not. What do you think about this? Do you want to comment? Gabriel, I think that you're muted.
Sorry. I was saying that I think that the example of asking somebody in the street for directions, that's probably already dying or almost dead, right? Because thanks to Google Maps and all the other applications. I think that human interaction in general is probably going to be more rare, but also more meaningful. People are going to attach more importance to, I'm actually talking to a real human being. I think they're going to attach more meaning to it, spend more time, have deeper interactions when they do have interactions. All the rest will be somewhat filtered out through chats and automatic emails. And we already have virtual assistants that are planning your meetings on Outlook, so on and so forth.
Right, Gabriel, I think this scenario, we need to look at the feeling lost aspect of it, right? At the moment, yes, you have Google Maps, and we all know how well we can read maps, right? So I think addressing what Google should be doing is it should be addressing the feeling of being lost, right? Because then all of a sudden AI has a purpose. Because it's like waiting for your luggage at the airport, right? It's one of the most stressful things that a human can go through if your luggage is not there within 3 minutes, right? Having that, pushing you out of that lost feeling and having that map come alive, right, might make you not speak to strangers, but at least it subdues any kind of negative emotions and therefore allows you to have a better experience if you go to a different city.
It actually connects with
just from our perspective, we believe that the human local interaction is ideal. But at the end of the day, time is the most critical factor in people's lives. And what we're trying to do with our human-centric AI is make sure that kind of human-human interaction is done at scale. So just like you would have a individual at an information kiosk answering your questions about what they know about a destination, be able to give that capability on a large scale to DMOs so that that knowledge can be deeper and broader, can tap into millions of calculations per second, and it can give you that up-to-date guidance that an individual human wouldn't be able to do.
And I would add that people love traveling, but a lot of them hate the travel planning experience even right now, especially on mobile devices. So if you spend 10 hours or 15 hours planning a trip and looking for the best travel deals and hotels and what to do in the destination, you lose out on the human connection as well. So I think that the AI technology and virtual assistants or other tools technologies can help and optimize your the places that can be optimized, and then let you enjoy those human the time that you spend with your other half, or meeting friends, or sitting at a restaurant that was recommended to you by an AI assistant and watching an amazing sunset overlooking Lisbon or some other beautiful city. So they really, I don't think one will completely, they don't interfere with one another, but I think it just enhances the experience and helps you have a more pleasant and enjoyable trip.
And I just thought about something that I would like to add. I'm a huge sci-fi fan, and this is actually a scenario that happened in Minority Report. I don't know, the movie with Tom Cruise. He's running around trying to save this girl in a mall, and he has this little gadget on him. I think it's a contact lenses, and trying to get from point A to point B. Wherever he's stopping, there's always these ads on these screens. And I don't know if you have this in Lisbon, but we have it in Paris. Ads are more and more now on these kind of TV screens in the street, right? And the TV screens are pushing to him, turn left, turn right. Oh, hey, Tom Cruise, you should buy this object. You should buy that object. In that world where I have to get from point A to point B, and on top of that, it knows I'm lost, and the screens are going to start pushing information to me without even me asking. Yeah, there's no human interaction anymore.
But it also needs to become ethical. AI will also know when to step back and let humans be human, right?
If it's ethical.
There's a time where, no, but it's the same as you don't give your kids your iPad and the phone from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., right? You restrict their screen time for a certain reason, right? It's a big known fact that Steve Jobs didn't give an iPad and an iPhone to his kids until they were 16 or something, right? Because for them, when they start, they learn and grow up with modifying images, right? So when they watch a magazine, for them it's an iPad that is broken. It's not a magazine.
Yeah.
Right. And I think we also need to be mindful of the fact that AI needs to step back to say, now enjoy the experience, right? Why do you think in shows they always say, switch off your bloody phone, right? Now stop. It's not for making recording. It's like actually watch the show, right?
Be present.
But by the time you're holding all of that, exactly, be present. Because you sit there, make so many pictures, and you don't have a memory. You have, on my phone, I just looked, 18,000 pictures. But I bet you that about 17,500 of those are completely irrelevant, right? So I think we need to fine tune that at when we throw AI onto somebody and when we actually step back and say, you know what, now the real experience starts. Thank you very much, but goodbye.
Yeah. Okay, guys, we are really getting to the end. I'm sorry to need to short the things a little bit, but really quickly, one last question from the audience. And again, sorry to all of the people that we are receiving questions from our networks and networks of some of our partners. Okay, so we are receiving from different channels. I'm not able to show all of them, but let's choose another one. So really short, and I know that the question is really complex, but do you think that the artificial intelligence will become emotional intelligence? Because it's kind of a different thing, right?
That's Angela. That's the essence of our business, is trying to take human emotions and how you would interact with a local, and bringing the training of algorithms in a real world environment and allowing that human understanding of, let me look at you, let me talk to you, let me get a sense of what you like and who you are, and then give you some kind of recommendation. So we're there, Angela.
I think we need to be A, yes, and B, better hope not, right? Because A, yes, we wanted to understand emotions and we wanted to help us with that. But a counter argument is in Duisburg about a year or two ago, they did a study with little kind of robots, and they gave them to people to help better their lives for about 3 weeks. And then they did the same thing as an iRobot, and half of the robots at the end said, please don't switch me off, I'm afraid in the dark. Right? 70% of people refused to switch off that robot. Right? So all of a sudden that emotional intelligence ain't that good anymore. Right? So we have to take both sides. Yes, we're all trying to do better the world and do stuff, but there's some sick people out there that try to do exactly the opposite with that. Right? Unfortunately, it's like hackers and white hats. Right?
Yeah.
And from that perspective, there is great opportunity, but with great responsibility, great opportunity comes also great responsibility that we actually need to make sure that it doesn't turn around and manipulates instead of elevates, right?
Yeah, we have to keep in mind that in the emotional spectrum, there's all the good aspects, but there's also all the bad aspects. You want to be careful about that.
Yeah. And well, unfortunately, we only train for the good.
Oh yeah.
Adomas, what
That's what we train for, is good.
I completely agree, and I think it goes same with privacy and with the emotional intelligence, that we have to find a balance how we use it. And I think it will be very interesting that in a few years, I think we will see AIs cooperating with AIs, where you will be able to take the best of different worlds and maybe connect different applications into one. So then, if one is focusing completely on using on building emotional intelligence, and the other one is focused on data optimization, then finding how they could connect and interact with each other so that the ultimate experience is even better for the end user.
Yeah, makes sense. Guys, it was really great. We are really out of time, I have literally the next speakers here joining us on the StreamYard already, on our system already. It was really great to discuss this with you. I know that you will be on the fair during the rest of the day, so for the people that are watching us, if you want to go to the virtual fair in Tourism Tech Summit and join the table and go to the lounge area and join the tables of our guests, please move on. You can go there and keep this discussion going on during the day. You can literally meet with the speakers and discuss with them there. Or you know what? Actually, you can find all the contacts inside the virtual fair. You can find our contacts, and you can contact directly each one of these startups. And you can keep the discussion by email if you want to see the next sessions. It's actually up to you. Okay. Thanks again, guys. For everyone that is hearing us, we will come back in 5 minutes. Okay. In 11 a.m. GMT plus 1 time, or Portuguese time. Okay, so we will come back in 5 minutes with our next guests. I can give you a small preview of Artem and Ivis that are already here with us. Hi, we will start soon in 5 minutes.
Hi, thank you for inviting us.
Yeah, and so guys, thanks again, everyone. In 5 minutes we will continue with the next debate. What are the new trends in the reservation services? Okay. So, see you all soon.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Hi guys, welcome back to our session. And now, after being that really interesting question about AI and about machine learning, we will start to discuss a little bit about the new trends in the reservation services. Actually, I will ask Artem and Ivis to join us. Hi guys.
Hi.
Morning.
Yeah. Can you hear me well? We are having some trouble with the sound during the session. Can you hear me well? It's fine.
Now everything is okay.
Okay.
That's perfect. Thank you.
Nice.
I can hear myself.
Okay. I will try to solve it like in a few minutes. But you know what? Like in the session before we really start, I think probably it's a good idea to allow you to just present yourself and make your pitch. Maybe Artem, maybe you can start.
Yeah, sure. My only question is, can I share my screen? Right?
Sure.
Yeah, I can.
Sure.
Can you see it now?
Yep.
Great. So yeah, hi everyone. My name is Artyom. I am CEO of Insurion, parametric insurance platform. We're creating travel insurance products which are able to automatically decide where the insurance event happened and make automatic reimbursement. And we use big data for that. We know how to solve problems of online travel agencies, airlines, hotels, and other travel services. If they have insufficient margin on popular additional services and low customer loyalty, we can solve it. We suggest them to sell travel insurance with instant payment as an additional product and to earn a fee. We fit in between the insurance sellers, online travel agencies, airlines, and so on, and insurance companies. We integrate with both sides. By selling our parametric insurance as an additional product, partner can increase the margin from 3 to 10%, increase customer loyalty up to 15%, and partner, once integrated with Insurion, is able to choose the most beneficial conditions offered by several insurance companies, our partner companies. Now, what exactly our products are? We're working as a B2B2C. Imagine that you and your family are in airport and realized that your flight is delayed for 3 hours. Right after that, you receive insurance payment right on your bank card. That's because our algorithms detected your flight delay and initiated instant payment. Now imagine that you have come to Madeira to have a sun resort, but there is raining outside and you have to sitting in your hotel room frustrating about bad holidays. At this moment, you receive insurance payment right on your bank card because our algorithms detected your current weather conditions and initiated instant payment. We have direct competitors. Most of them are in Great Britain, but they can't integrate with partners. It makes their products less scalable than ours. We started in 2017 and have got the first sales in 2019. In the beginning of 2020, right before pandemic, we already tracked about 800,000 insurance persons per month. COVID period was tough for us, but in March of 2021, we already monitored about 100,000 passengers per month. We partner with 6 insurance companies and 5 online travel agencies. Our executive team consists of 3 people. I'm responsible for general management and product management. And we have a great software development from banking industry. And our sales director is former vice president of insurance company. We want insurance help to come to tourists exactly when they need it, and to do that automatically without applications and bureaucracy. We want to make modern, huge amounts of data to help tourists. And we want to improve the ecology, transforming all the current travel insurance process paperless. You can use our QR code to see the demo of payment of reimbursement process. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Artem. I think that probably the echo problem it's already solved, right? Can you hear me fine, right? Fine now.
Echo problem.
No, yeah. I think it was making echo my voice before. No.
Yeah. Now I don't hear myself.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks again for your presentation. We will discuss a little more about that later.
Sure.
And now, Ives, what can you tell us about your company, about Victory?
I can tell a lot of things. First of all, I'm happy to be there. Yes, so my name is Yves de Burbure. I am the CEO of the Belgian software company Victory. For 25 years, I have specialized in software solution and data management for the travel industry. As a software solution provider, we must have a future vision about different aspects, and I would take three of them. Yeah? First one is, how will travel be sold in the near future? The second thing is, what will be the best offer to travelers? And then important for me, which tools should we develop for professionals to achieve this? Yeah? So three important aspects for which we must provide answers and solutions. What is our vision, in fact? How will travel be sold in the near future? Yeah? Today we know regular channels like B2C or B2B sales done via online or done manually in system. I think there will be a possibility, and we are creating the tools for this also, is selling online through websites of alternative distribution channels, being non-professional travel organizations, such as newspapers, magazines, organizations, clubs, with a large audience. What is the offer to travelers? What will the tour operators, travel agencies offer to travelers? This should be like intelligent product created based on travelers' preferences analysis. I mean with this simple range of exclusive customizable trips packages, display with images, not too much text, and simple price structure. So, I mean, to achieve this, we would need some tools to be able to do that. Yeah? And we are thinking about, or we are even having this kind of tools, meaning user-friendly trip designers and sell price calculator, insight statistics analyzer, where on secure-based data collection, you can somehow set up a traveler profile and preferences, analyze the data, and then automatically advise for a specific product offer to this kind of profiles. And then last thing, customizable booking engines, which can be integrated in any website. So our answer of Victory is an all-in-one travel platform, also named Victory, on which we are doing daily changes to achieve those goals. That is our actual vision on the future for the moment.
Okay, thanks, Ives. You know what? I don't know what is happening with Hilda World, because probably it's something weird happening. They are not being able to join, but you know, we will check after this, and we can still discuss. We can discuss between ourselves the topic. Okay, so I have one question for you. You know, actually, I have already asked this to the last panel, but I would like to have your point of view also. It's like I told the last panel, a lot of people says that the tourism is more about the experience, you know, it's about people. It's not that much about the destination. It's more about the experience you can have. How do you think that this affect the reservation services like yours? What is the impact that this have, and how will this change in the next few years?
Well, yeah, I think.
Can I?
Yeah, please go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So I am actually absolutely agree with the point of view that the travel that is about an experience, not about a destination. More, not everything about it, but because you know, imagine the usual average guys like we are. The most parts of the year we are working. All of the most part of days in the year are pretty the same, resemble each other. And when holidays comes, it looks like adventure. Even if we will spend next 10 days lying on the beach somewhere near some sea, still we imagine it like an adventure. And everything what will happen during this adventure looks like a joyful, and even the problems, because what is the adventure without the problems, right? Like you know, like flight delay or bad weather, but only if such a problems resolve very fast and easy. You will remember how easy you solve the problem during your vacation, how great was the adventure. So I absolutely agree that the travel, which average people face couple times a year, it's like an adventure. It is more about experience. Absolutely.
Yeah, and basically this join a bit what I'm saying also. The proposal to the travelers should be such a way that, in fact, when you propose something, it should be already like, this I really would like to go there and see that. Yeah? And for this you need to be able to present, like customizable trips, and I will call it like that. Display, with like images, what you can do day by day, and then have like a price structure which is very simple. Yeah, and then propose your proposal to any kind of environment, organization, and whatever. But also, what I like very much is the Ansurian solution, where I think I should really talk with you, because that's part also of solution which needs to be integrated with us, and we certainly needs to. And I think the future, because my specialization is also API integration, data exchange, real time. I think for us it would be very simple to, if people like Ansurian has like an open API, I'm sure they have this. Where we can really integrate with each other just to improve the experience of the travelers of the futures. Yeah.
But this is actually a really good point, because one of the questions that I would also have for you, it's really about that. It's how far are we from the a totally integrated third-party reservation system? We see different integrations with different tools, but do you think that in the future eventually we will have just one tool that will allow us to integrate every kind of reservation services, hotels, everything in the same place?
Well, you have the big OTAs, which are selling everything, a lot of hotels, flights, and everything. That's one category of travel organization, and then you have the smaller tour operator, if I can call it like this, who is creating, experience, trips, which you can book, but also customize on your needs. So I think there's a big difference between both of them. I'm more focused on the solution for the tour operators, which wants to present more like an experience rather than make them possible to book everything. I spoke with different people from different age groups. In fact, if you want to go to Madeira, to take the example of, I forgot your first name again, but I mean, who knows what this hotel is about? What is possible all there? If you are so busy in your daily business that, in fact, you want to have the advice of an experimented travel designer who can tell you, okay, if you go to Madeira, we think if you are a sportman, maybe you have to go there because there you can do and then maybe you can have nice walks over the sea. And here is a proposal for such kind of experience, and then you can book this and then call or contact us online to see how we can maybe even custom it for you. So I think we need to distinct those big organizations who wants to sell everything and those ones who wants to sell experience. But that's again a kind of point of view.
Great.
I agree with you.
I think it's was a great point because I actually didn't separate before online travel agencies, but if we think about it, you're absolutely right, because 2 weeks ago I have used the second one type of organizer. I have visited Altai. Now the borders are closed, so we have to travel inside of our countries, and I was in Altai. It was adventure, and there is a company who provided they have minority of some digital products. They have minority of integration, but they provided us like a safari with SUVs. Yeah, I think you're right. In the same time, answering the question, how far from the seamless integration, right? How far the industry from a fully integration reservation system. I think that travel industry is the most advanced industry from the technology point of view. That's because, first of all, it is dramatically competitor, a lot of competitors on this market. And second, from time to time, the margin of companies from travel industry decrease extremely, like last year, as we see. And travel companies have to improve, have to modern, upgrade all of the processes in order to become more efficient, more reduce cost, and so on. It resembles a banking industry because it have to upgrade itself as well. And what I can see that travel industry use open APIs, use some widgets, some integrations, much more often than other industry. Actually, it makes it much more competitors on this market, because because it reduces the barriers to newcomers. So many people become able to create some small micro product and integrate it in the travel process. But answering your question, the travel industry is the most advanced, and I hope I see that the seamless and fully automated services will be provided to tourists.
I think an important aspect is the capability to invest in this kind of tools.
Yeah, sure.
The big problem is the margin. Yeah, margin today is really a minimum. So how can travel resellers, make a good business out of it? There are only two solutions: or you sell quite a lot with a little margin, or you sell, exclusive things which the traveler accept to pay a little bit more because it's customizable. The third aspect, and I think it's already like this, insurances, for example, gives a nice return, a nice margin. When you would see, if we would take statistics about what gives us the best margin, okay, I think it's insurances. Yeah, and that's why also a lot of tour operators, travel agencies are selling this. Yeah, so if we have a solution like insurance solution, yeah, well, which is completely automated, which gives you automatically without administrative work, and that's what young people are looking at. That they need solutions which are quick and efficient. Yeah, so each on his part is working on this. Surian is creating a product which is easy to use, easy to implement, and efficient. Yeah, in the way that, okay, something has happened, oh, it's on my back account. Well, that is, I think, a very good idea. We need to talk with you. We really need to talk with you. But and that's why we with the Victory, our part, we want to create, or we created a product, a system to create trips, which you can put easily online, not only on your website, but on other websites. Yeah, and so increase your sales. Yeah. Addition to that, you could put in the middle a kind of marketplace where you could push your product, which is your unique trip, and distribute this to this alternative sales channel, where those alternative sales channels, if we educate them a bit, can fish out of the marketplace, put this, yeah, together with a good insurance of Insurium. Yeah.
If things like the new partnership is have born just during this panel.
It's always great when that things happen.
Yeah, but in fact, I didn't have the chance really to talk with you. I'm quite busy right now, and but I was on my bucket list of contacts that I certainly need to do. Yeah,
sure. Yeah, and actually, Artem, you have actually some guys here listening to the session that also told us that they want to talk with you after this. So yeah, some partnerships are appearing for sure.
We will talk to everybody. We will have talked with most of them, but we didn't with if we will.
Yeah. So guys, I have here another question for you, and then we will move on to the questions from the audience. Okay. But my question was, things have changed a lot during the last year, right? We are all aware of that. COVID changed behaviors, but actually, I like to think, I don't know if you agree or not, that's not the question, but COVID changed some behaviors and actually accelerated some changes that we was already seeing before COVID. And I think that some of them was about the concerns that people had when they are reserving a service or an hotel or something, before COVID probably people wasn't that much concerned about the safety, for example. I don't know. What do you think that have changed in the reservation services during this last year? Okay, and what do you think that will keep that way on the future?
If you're ready.
Yeah, I think here we are talking about the providers, finally, of services booked by travelers, where in fact, maybe insurance is involved in this, but on the side of the tour operator organizing trips, I think the information given related to possibility of infection and stuff like that has received another accent. Now, it's already like this. You know, there are countries where you need to have like a vaccine for yellow fever or for whatever. In the past, it was already like this. If you go to an African countries where they have a lot of mosquitoes, well, then you need to have your special pills with you. And this is the responsibility of the person who organizing the trips to give the exact information. And maybe today, when we describe something, well, there will be an additional text, security for healthy. They click on this and then they can read whatever they need. But on the end, the guys who are organizing those trips will have to work with those providers which can secure the travelers and also prove this somehow. Those ones, but then we come really to the inbound tour operators which receive the tourists, who will be successful. Those ones who can really provide this kind of security. So I think this is really it's on the last level of the organizer to be responsible for this and give the right information.
What do you think, Artem?
While if answer the question, I tried to remember, have I seen at least one concern about COVID passenger in my plane when I was visited on Altai, and on the last weekend I have visited St. Petersburg to see a Euro game. And no, I think that passengers travelers doesn't concern about COVID a lot. They just wearing a mask, and moreover, from each 5 minutes, the team on the board asked somebody to wear his mask, because I think that the concerns, the travelers' concerns, keeps the same as they were before the COVID, more or less. And I would say that.
But do you think that it is accelerated? Like, do you think that it is accelerated? Like now after COVID, people, it's like they are more concerned about some things that they wasn't before, or you think it's the same?
I think, that's exactly what I wanted to say. They actually didn't change their concern because of COVID. I think they changed it of concern because of more travel process moved to online. Before. I don't know, 5 years ago, you have to, if you wanted to purchase a tour, you have to go to travel agent physically, and to talk to him, asking him all the questions you have. Now, due to COVID, mostly, most of people started to book the travel online, and there's nobody here who they can ask all their questions. And the task, the aim of online travel agency is to develop such a user interface which will not to answer all the questions directly, but which will be so logical. So the person could go through it easily without additional questions. No, the process should be very logical, and the process should foresee. It should foresee all the client's questions, all the client's concerns. And the only thing maybe that was changed before because of COVID, it's the manner of purchasing the travel.
Sorry, I just go out of the air. No, yeah, I agree with you. Actually, now we have some questions here from the audience. Okay, and Christina told us that regarding this topic you are discussing, for me now it's just an experience tourism is an emotional tourism in another step. That experiences can be a lot of them, but the importance is to make people to remember that it is so connected with emotions. And what do you think about it? How do you think we can work to achieve emotional tourism? At least in here in the reservation part, I guess.
Yeah, for me, it resembles the first question
Yeah.
about emotions. Yeah, as I said, it's an adventure for tourists, which he had wait for several months, and everything what will happen to him during this adventure will keep he will keep in his mind. So even if the travel organizer, online travel agency or physical travel agency, they cannot avoid tourists from all the problems on his way, but they can provide them the solutions, simple solutions for such a problem. So that's I think that's a big point about that the travel are emotions, not destination. And yeah, that's it.
I have one customer here in Belgium, and his company is called Africa Emotions.
Okay.
Yeah? And it's a good example, and it's you know it's a one-man show. Yeah, but I thought it very interesting how he is doing this. Yeah, so he has like a newsletter, and he's also using quite often Facebook, where he described some emotion that he had personally, and he described this. Yeah, and then each time that he is creating his story, you know, with pictures, very nice pictures. I mean, this guy takes great pictures. Yeah, and then you see this. Oh, this I really would like to do. How much does it cost to go there and to organize this? Yeah, so this guy, I mean, he has like, and so it's Africa Emotions. So it's really explaining this, yeah, and how he do this is by just regularly. I think he do this like every week. He is sending some pictures with a little story. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know this guy already since a long time, and he has like, I know that in his database he has like 1,000 different stories. Yeah. Wow. Just to give you a little example, he was explaining when you visit this village in the middle of nowhere there in Congo, you will see, if you come in the village and you take on the main place on the left, the second house on your right, there is an old woman who is preparing, you know, a kind of never seen good tasting soup.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it stops. And then come question: where is this exactly? And how should we? I asked, but you need to do this and this and that. It starts, you know, and with just this little emotion, he's starting of getting, you know, contacts. Huh? Thanks to the I will take.
Yeah. I was just showing the answer we are receiving at the same time.
Yeah, and
great story.
And our task as software developer and offering tools to Europe is just make it simple to do this kind of actions. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Well, that's the point of view.
Yeah. And seeing this in another perspective, it's still yet about people, but this is a more generic question. But do you think that the reservation help the people to perform better? I think that here the Ruben is talking us more about the in the side of the operation tour, the tourism companies, for example. Do you think what is the role that you think that systems like yours will have in helping the people that already works with in the reservations and all of that? because when we start to automatize.
You mean will it help? How it will help to people who work in the travel industry?
Yeah, actually, the question is will the reservation help people to perform better? I'm not sure if Ruben was talking about the tourist side or the industry. I guess it's in the industry. So I will maybe change the question a little bit, but I think it's more or less like this. It's like if you have a system that automatically makes the insurance, for example, in your case, probably this will help the guys on the office on the insurance company to sell more insurance. Yes, they will perform better, but at the same time you have the guys that usually was there answering the phone to make the insurance that will not have a job anymore. So it's kind of a cycle here, how do you think it's
What I know for sure is that the digitalization of travel industry provides more data, more figures, right? More figures for the company, for the industry itself, and such a figures could be used to understand more, to better understand the either travelers, either the employees of travel, either the performance of travel agencies. Using such a figures, travel agency can understand what they have to change inside in order to become better. Sometimes I have seen a couple examples where travel agencies performed 15 years before in one manner, how they changed their business model once the digitalization of travel industry started.
Yeah.
So I think that the data amount will change the performance of either travel agencies and the travelers. So
maybe I have a kind of answer on this also. The more travel organization will automate, the less they will have administrative work, and the more they can invest in creating nice emotional products. So people who were working on sending emails to the supplier, can you please book this and that, and check if payments came in and stuff like that, those people will be moved to the sales and marketing, knowing better the products, etc. So I think we go to this emotions and experience by automation, because tour operators, travel agency, they will be able to invest more in investigation. What does my customer want? And not anymore, how should I give this information to my supplier? No, we have the conservative people working in the travel industry who wants not too much. I don't see really the opportunity which is now open to invest in new tools. And then you have these young entrepreneurs, tour operators, who create this kind of things, experience, and which are the online tools I can use. And now for the moment I see this, a lot of smaller of those tour operators are using a CRM system. They have a CMS, they have like 5 or 6 different tools. The idea from us is put this all together, automate everything, and make nice products.
I agree with Yves, actually. The true artist shouldn't spend his time and his talent to selling selling their paintings, for example, right? True artists have to create the paintings, and the true travel agent have to create the emotional adventures for a client, and he shouldn't spend his effort to marketing and so on. I'm pretty agree with you.
It's the first
Okay.
time that somebody is so many times agreeing with me, because I'm trying to explain this to my wife and she didn't always agree with me.
Well,
Thank you.
Okay, we have one last question from the audience, and because we are really getting to the end, but do you think that will the speak-to-text reservation system, personal concierge chatbot, be the standard, or are there still a lot of changes to overcome?
Well, speech-to-text.
I can repeat the question.
I am not sure about how it will. I think the execution of such a technology is already using.
We have some actually we have some projects here that don't do this exactly, but it's close enough.
I know that a lot of machine learning applications execute the speech to text extremely well, extremely correct.
Yeah.
So I think that it is. I can even imagine. I would say that speech to text technology is already using. I would say that maybe neuro interfaces is the closest future for.
Like we have seen it actually in the last session. We was discussing this like 1 hour ago. What do you think, Yves?
Yeah, I think again we come to a point where can we somehow automate how a tour operator needs to understand very well his customer to provide him the exact product that he wants. Yeah. So here we are talking about what is the traveler profile and what should I give him. Now, as each tour operator is basically specialized in one is specialized in safaris in Africa, the other one is adventure in the Siberian bushes, the other one wants to go to Alaska, dive with whales. So depending on the traveler profile, the chatbot should ask very specific question. What I try to say here is each tour operator is different, and depending on what he sell, we would need to have like a kind of chatbot. But the big question, and I'm talking with the small tour operators quite often about this, can a chatbot take over from emotions by a human being? I think seeing somebody explaining something face to face will still remain. Maybe for some actions, yes, chatbot, but I believe contacts between human being will remain. And we have seen this with COVID. People were blocked at home, and what do they want now? Party, see each other, me as
human
well.
Contact.
Yeah, human contact. I mean, we are a human being. Why willing always having to automate everything? Well, I would say this part, yes, maybe for specific things. Like, for example, he is on travel, and then on his mobile app, he has like a chatbot. You are now there in Moscow. Would you like maybe that we organize something for you there? And then he can say yes. And then, this could be a kind of automated task where it could be done. But doing everything with the chatbot, speech to text and stuff like that, it's certainly parts of it, but not everything.
Yeah, I agree with you. Well, guys, the time really flies when we are having fun, and it was, I think, a really interesting discussion. I want to thank you again for being here and to discuss this with us and with the audience. It was really great to have you here. I want also to remember everyone that is listening to us that you can keep this discussion inside the virtual fair. If you go to Tourism Tech Summit and you make your registration, or if you are already registered, if you go to your email and click on the Access Virtual Fair link, you can go to the virtual fair and you have a lounge area, where you can go and sit on the table of our speakers and you can talk with them face to face in a video mode, like if you was in a, not exactly like if you was in a real fair, but close enough. The best we can do, at least. But you can at least talk with our speakers and talk with them face to face if you go to the virtual fair and if you go to the lounge area. Okay, so if you want to continue this discussion with our speakers, you can just go directly there. Or, if you want to see the next sessions, you can just send an email, and I'm pretty sure that all of our speakers will be glad to answer you, and we can keep this discussion by email. You can check all the contact details inside the virtual fair also. Okay, thanks again, Hartem. Thanks again, Hives. It was really great, and guys, we will come back in 10 minutes. Next session, it's about VR and live streaming, and if it can or cannot substitute the real thing in the future. Okay, so I think that.
Yeah.
See you
so
soon.
Maybe my last thing I would say is travel with emotions. Thank you.
Yeah. See you all soon.
And I agree with you again. Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Hello, all. Welcome again to Tourism Tech Summit. We will have now our third discussion of the day related with the future of the tourism. Okay, and now we will talk a little bit more about VR and live streaming and until which point can VR and live streaming just substitute the real thing, okay, and be like replace the real thing in the future in the tourism industry. And in order to have this discussion, we will have Bryce from the VR Voyage, we will have Simon and Holly from Ancient World, Lithodomus, and we will have Yoni and Canon from Aperture. Okay, hello. Welcome everyone.
Hi. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, thanks again for being here. Okay, and like in the last sessions, I think that probably the better way to do this is to start with your presentation. You know, you present your startup, yourselves, and then we can start to discuss about VR and live streaming and how all these changes and all this virtualization will change the future of the tourism industry. Okay, maybe Bryce, maybe you can start with your presentation and your startup.
Sure.
Tell us a little bit more.
My name is Bryce Watts. I'm the founder of the VR Voyage. So we are a Netflix-style platform for virtual travel. So what we've been finding, and like many people in the tourism industry, is that over the last year or so, many organizations have invested thousands into creating their own virtual tours because this has been the key word, the buzzword, and the hot trend over the last year and a half. And all these organizations, they've invested thousands into creating this to attract new audiences, to diversify their revenue, but being posted on their website, it's not reaching as many people as they'd expected. So what we've done is created a platform for these third-party partners to then bring their content onto a centralized hub that can then act as an innovative interactive tool for travelers to then explore new destinations beyond what they would be able to in person, and kind of act as an inspiration for them when planning a new trip, when they're able to actually do that trip planning again. Our business model, it's based off of the same as Netflix and Spotify. So we work with third-party partners, we host their content on our platform, then we sell that content, or access to that content rather, to travelers, school groups, through individual ticket sales and through monthly subscriptions, just like Netflix does. We are working with travel agents and tourism boards to promote local businesses and support the local economies through this type of platform. And our team, we're based here in Canada at the moment, but soon to be moving to Portugal to be setting up operations there. And over the last 6 or 7 months, we've been making partnerships with government organizations like Parks Canada, the BC Parks Foundation. We're working with regional museum associations that are bringing cultural heritage online, giving greater access to the history of countries and promoting the destinations through cultural travel, through food travel. And what we've been doing is through this platform, we have been able to increase our audience size by working with our affiliates and by our partners then having their own activated audiences. We are able to work together in a collaborative way to kind of build up this recovery process and to build a stronger tourism sector and cultural sector by working together instead of creating individual content that then we try and access our own audiences. By working together, we all have a better chance at recovering from this and building a stronger ecosystem. Thank you.
Oh yeah, it totally makes sense. And what about you, Simon and Holly? Oh, Holly actually is not here. Holly. Yeah. What about Lithodomus and Ancient World? Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Absolutely. I've prepared a presentation for everyone, and I'd like to take you through that.
Hi, my name is Simon Young. I'm the founder of Lithodomus, and I'm pleased to present Lithodomus to you today. I'd like you to think back, way back, when you were on holiday touring ancient ruins. Did you ever stop and say, I wish I could travel back in time to see what this used to look like? Well, we at Lithodomus certainly have, and our mission is to bring the ancient world to life for everyone. Lithodomus is a scale-up startup that leverages cutting-edge mobile and immersive VR technologies to bring heritage tourism into the digital age. our scalable approach content creation uses archaeological and historical records to ensure that our reconstructions are as accurate as possible. I founded Lithodomus in 2016 and secured the company's first $1 million of funding. I assembled a global team of UX designers, 3D artists, developers, tourism specialists, and heritage specialists to create a vast library of digital cultural heritage content, securing further rounds of funding on the way. 3D artists like Rogerio Perdiz, based in Coimbra, ensure that our vision of the ancient world is firmly based with local expertise. Last year, we launched the Ancient World Tour platform to showcase our capabilities with a standalone product. You can now take a stunning virtual tour on location or enjoy it at home. Our tours let you compare today's ruins with how sites looked in all their original glory, whether that be 500 or 3,000 years ago. Tours have audio by local professional guides, 360-degree viewpoints, maps, photos, and more. The platform has captured the attention of major players like Travel and Leisure magazine for its tourism potential and Cambridge University Press for its educational value, to name a few. Since our soft launch in December 2021, we have already seen over 3,000 purchases of tours across tourism and education verticals without any direct marketing efforts. On site, Ancient World is a COVID-safe replacement for clunky and outdated audio tour headsets. It collects data about traffic flow, wait times, and satisfaction to provide segmented user analysis that gives sites a valuable tourism management tool. The Lisbon tour is already live on our Ancient World platform, highlighting key moments in time from the Roman period to 1754, the year before the earthquake and tsunami. Lithodomus partners with museums, UNESCO, and World Heritage sites to create immersive experiences such as large-scale projections and cinematic experiences. Need a marketing boost? The images and videos we create can be used in social media and other promotions to attract prospective travelers with striking visuals so that they come and visit in the future. We are thrilled to increase our partnerships in Portugal, where we have already invested significantly in the recreation of historic monuments in Lisbon and Évora. Lithodomus is well-funded and poised to seize opportunities as travel returns. We plan to ramp up and scale up our revenue by partnering with more cultural sites, providing them with our innovative approach to help tourism rebound, and we'll be honoured to start this in Portugal. Until we invent a time machine, Ancient World is as close as you can get to time travel. Thank you very much for your time, and I'm happy to take questions.
Thanks, Simon. I think it showed us, at least, and really showed us, and Ali also, of course, showed us what Lithodomus does. We will discuss more about that later. Maybe Yoni and Canon, can you tell us about Aperture?
Yeah, sure. So, I'm Yoni Medan, co-founder and CTO of Aperture. Kenan here is our CEO, co-founder. Me and Kenan have our software company for 14 years together, so it's been a long run. Kenan loves live stream webcams, those that show you a street 24/7. I don't, but well, one day he comes to me and says, Yoni, I have this great idea. Let's create something really, really amazing, some experience using live stream that really shows the users the location and allows them to feel as if they are really there. So we created Aperture, an interactive live stream tours service on site with real tour guides. What is the problem we're solving? Well, the world is globalizing. Everyone wants to be everywhere. They want to feel, share, socialize, talk around the world quickly. Until teleportation is developed, there's no way to do that. So a 1 hour experience, a live stream experience on site with our tour guide in Australia is exactly it. We started with VR ideas and AR and smell and taste and whatnot. At the moment, we are focusing on what is possible in technology today, although the rest is still definitely on our roadmap and on our vision, and we are working on it. So let me show you a quick snip of how that looks.
Hi, Matt here, and I'm in the park. Can you see those? Someone say yes. Can you see them? I got a termite in my ear. Ah! Thanks again. And it's been a lot of fun. Hi, it's Matt.
Well, sorry. Yeah, our team Jamie Levavi as CMO, Kenan Brown, CEO, and myself as CTO, we all have 14 years of experience in our fields, development, managing, and Jamie with the digital marketing. And the numbers speak for themselves. 98 of our users stay on the entire 1 hour tour. 40% bring friends, 37% buy again, 23% of our site visitors return again, and 4.9 out of 5 stars is our average tour rating. We are open for sales since November 2020. The live stream business has been going crazy before the pandemic, and now it's basically a phenomenon, with 60% of revenue from streaming industry coming from live stream. We started alone, but today we have big competitors such as Amazon, Airbnb, and others, but we are still unique in our unique high-quality tours in terms of technology and content. And we are the leaders at the moment, still developing, keeping that lead all the time. We have great partners such as San Francisco Tour Guild, Chicago Architecture Center, Ministries of Tourism. We've been covered in the Los Angeles Times, Voice of America, and more. Although we are relevant regardless of the pandemic is a unique time to push this forward, and this is why we are looking for investment now. We're planning to go global scale, adding more guides, content, expand marketing, and adding more cutting-edge features such as indoor shopping with AR integration and VR premium services. Thank you very much.
You are welcome. Thank you for sharing that with us. So, guys, you know, we have been discussing a lot of different things about the future of tourism during this morning, you know. We have discussed the different things about AI and about artificial intelligence. I think that some of the questions here are kind of the same, you know. But I will go there. I think that the first thing I want to ask you is exactly the title of the session, you know. You really believe that at some point the VR and live streaming will just substitute the real presence in the place? Or, you know, I know this is a hot topic, but all the other questions will be around this, so I would like to start with the bigger one.
I would say I have a big reveal that reality is really a VR simulation.
Yeah, well, you know, a lot of people say that we are just playing Sims, you know? It's like...
I would say, I mean, no matter how great the technology gets, and we're just kind of still in that early stage of the technology, but there's never going to be a complete substitution for in-person experiences. I mean, there's so many little factors that go into how you perceive a destination when you're there in person. I mean, even so much as the breeze against your skin as you're walking through the air, you know, the sun on you, the smells, the eye contact you make with someone as you walk past, you know, that's as good as the technology gets. There's always going to be small things that you don't even perceive when you're in person that is going to be missing somehow from that technology. But I mean, that's not to say that the technology is going to be 100 times what it is now, and, you know, closer to that kind of Star Trek hologram kind of feel. But in person, you know, there's always going to be something special about that.
I'd like to add on that. I'm not sure that Yoni mentioned that, but during the pitch, but we started on August 2019, 4 months before the first case of the pandemic were found out. The way we see it, at least on our niche, let's say, it's a nice add-on, it's a nice boost for real tourism. It should not replace, in our case, the real guides. If in 2019, when looking for guides to work with, we were just starting to call them and ask, do you have a gimbal? Would you like maybe run a live stream tour? And none of them understood what are we speaking about. A year after, we're getting calls from guides, and they are approaching us. All of them have gimbals, and they are working this kind of transform that the COVID caused them to do. At least from our aspect, it's not supposed to replace it. It's just a nice add-on. It's supposed to expose places that are not necessarily familiar or famous among others, like more trivial ones, I would say.
Well, one thing that's come up in a lot of conversations I've had with tourism operators and museum directors is the question of accessibility, especially for those who, for example, can't climb stairs or can't get to the top of Uluru, which is the big red rock in the middle of Australia, or indeed those people who could never afford a plane ticket to travel to places. So in those use cases, I really do think we play a really important part in opening up the world to those who have difficulties in accessing it otherwise.
Yeah, I think that's a really important point, is the accessibility part. I mean, even us on the panel, we're across probably every time zone. And, you know, that's the real value of VR, is that, I mean, for myself here in Canada, I've never been to the north because it's just so incredibly expensive to get there and it takes so long. But now I can take a virtual tour with someone up in a tiny remote community just with the click of a button, whereas before I would have to spend 24 hours of driving or something. So I think that's the real benefit. It might not be able to replace in person, but it definitely opens up really the world to exploration by anybody from any corner. So I think that's the real value.
Yeah, I think looking at technology and the advances, the question might always come with a timeline to it. When do you think that will happen? Because in 100 years from now, no one knows what will happen. Probably we'll have teleportation. So in terms of time, in 10 years, 20 years from now, probably will not be able to replace in-person really. There will always be something missing.
Okay, I agree with you. And actually this crosses with the second question that I had for you all, that it was actually, I think that Ollie, you didn't share your opinion, but we can make this like a talk. Yeah, the second question I had to you, it was exactly about that. It's like there are some things that VR and live streaming will never do, right? What do you think they are? What are the line that VR and live stream will never cross in the tourism industry? Do you think, or you think that eventually, because we have already agreed that this is not substitute the real thing, but what are the lines that it will not cross and will not,
I think it would be very difficult to present, unless there was a lot of pre-preparedness, it'd be very difficult to experience a local wine and cheese tasting experience in life.
For example.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we will never know. One day you can. With 3D printing.
Or something like bungee jumping.
Yeah.
It's very well placed to have the experience of cultural and heritage tourism. Yeah. So for that, it absolutely. I think for certain types of adventure tourism, for adrenaline junkies, unless you maybe combine it with a physical structure that can replicate the movements, which I'm sure will happen eventually and is happening in some small ways. It's that, adrenaline junkie type experiences, but in terms of seeing the sites and the history, and in the case of something like what we're doing, showing something that you can't travel anywhere in the world and see unless you have a time machine.
Yeah, it makes sense. And what do you think, Bryce, for example?
I mean, like Simon was saying, unless there's something where you're really planning ahead, I think Yanni, one of the old presentations you were talking about, you were thinking of like a smell feature. Was that right?
Yes, correct.
If we can do, I think there are ways to kind of pre-plan an experience. For Holly's idea about bungee jumping, maybe there's an audio guide that says, "Okay, now you jump off your bed," and then kind of simulate that way. But I think there are a lot of ways that can be, it's more steps added to the full process. But there are definitely ways that there can be more elements like smell or like taste that can really add value to a virtual experience. But like Holly said, there are going to be certain things that I think say for 100 years from now that are going to be kind of out of the realm of possibilities, like that that adrenaline factor, or kind of getting the blood pumping from being high up on a building or something like that.
Yeah, so basically VR at some point can already raise your adrenaline with some simple effects. And well, I don't want to get too much into this, but there's also electricity ideas of, they're using it in physiotherapy already to move your muscles, by small electric shocks. And then you are jumping, in that sense. Your muscles are even jumping in that sense. It's a way. It's in physiotherapy. My mom is a physiotherapist, so she already uses those devices. It's not far-fetched. And to add that to the wind effect, which is just air blowers, and I mean you can think of how to make it happen. It's not so far-fetched. That's what I'm saying. It's not going to be the real thing, but it's not so far. And in that sense, your senses are bulking you with all this information. So the VR or anything online it will be very hard to work on all senses at the same time. But maybe if you at the moment we are working very hard on the vision one and the ear on the sound one, right? So you just add one more sense and you do it very good. It becomes quite near the real thing. But it will
we
not
are
be
doing that, by the way, with I'll give an example. You mentioned wine before, wine tasting. We actually have a tour that we are developing right now. It's not on the site yet, but it will be a wine tasting experience in one of the chateaus in France. And the idea is we are working actually with the chateau to make sure those wines are available for our clients, in that case in the States, but they're available there. The way we see it, to connect it, to make this kind of immersive experience, the participants will have in advance those kits, in that case the wine.
Yeah, sure.
And we'll be able to consume it together while watching it. Is it a replacement
actually,
really visiting the chateau? No, but it's a nice sample. It's just a nice way to explore it and to expose it.
Actually, we had someone from audience suggesting just like that, and it's like it was already published before, but I put it here appearing because of that. And actually there are a lot of discussions now with the 3D printing that one day maybe you will have like some flavors on the printing, and then you are on the tour and it can print your cheese or your wine, because at the end of the day it's just a lot of molecules connected with each other, and if you can advance the technology that far, you can just send the receipt to the printer and the printer will print it. But okay, we are far away from that, but
also with the drones coming in, with Amazon drones and others,
they
will be able to deliver those very quickly, and they have warehouses around the world. So it's not far-fetched for you, booking a tour, and in 15 minutes the wine is there and the whole thing.
Yeah, sure.
I've seen this fascinating project where there's a toolkit of objects of different shapes and sizes, like a book, for example, or a ball, or a rod, or a bottle, they can actually pick up while you're in virtual reality, and it feature matches. So it looks like this white plastic bottle looks like a bottle of wine, or the book, which is just a generic book, suddenly is a volume that you're reading. So to have this kind of toolkit or prop set within virtual reality to simulate a haptic experience, I think that's very, very close in the future.
Yeah. Well, probably you have already suspected because of when I told you about the molecules and all of that. But I'm from chemistry engineering. My main course, it's not science or management or all of that. And we always have a concept there that I find really interesting to cross to the startups management. That is the limitant agent. It's like in the chemistry engineering, it's what stops the reaction to still happen and to happen faster. Okay, and here in the startups, there are always in these new technologies, there are always also one limitant agent, something that it stops you to do more things. Usually in the startups is the money, and other times is just the time of the founders. And I think that here in the VR, I don't know if you agree with me or not, it's actually the technology, not in the hardware. At least a lot of people tell me when we discuss this that the problem is not the program new things and algorithms is the hardware that a lot of times you have available with the operator tools. What do you think about that? It's that true? It's what is the limitation right now? Okay, and if you think that hardware is a problem or not, I would like to have your comment.
I would like to respond to that. Actually, we started with the company, first name was XR Tour. And the idea was really to provide those tours with those sets in this kind of VR camera like the one we have here. And that way we can stream live 360 degrees or 180 degrees streaming. But then the main question that we asked ourselves as a startup, what about the market? Who will watch this? We can develop that live stream thing, and there are barriers, of course, technology speaking, there are barriers. You need 5G, we do it outdoor, you need 5G and others. But let's say that everything works perfect. Who will consume it? Who will watch it? So our problem started actually with defining the market, because those kind of devices are, I would say, more available throughout teenagers, gamers, and not necessarily people who will sit for, in our case, it's 1 hour, let's say in a VR, it will be 15 minutes session, and watch and explore a place. So it didn't really match between the technology and market, didn't really meet each other.
Yeah, sure.
It's also a change of generations in that sense that the older generation is having a hard time with VR because their senses are not ready for it. So 15 minutes, 20 minutes max. And then the young ones, they play for hours with the thing on it, and and so on, and their eyes, and the whole way they work is ready for it. Yeah. So it's just a matter of time.
Bryce, what do you think?
I would say not just in terms of hardware limitations, but also more so for live stream tours, but also the capability of like 5G networks or data for people to live stream the actual tours. In a city center, you're not going to have any issues there. But maybe if you want to do a tour of a hike up a mountain or something, again, coming from Canada, there's a lot of dead zones for data because there's just no city for 5 hours. But in terms of a tour like that or underwater or something, there are some limitations still on being able to kind of facilitate that type of experience through either live streamed or maybe even accessibility through pre-recorded as well. So it's not just maybe that the cameras need to catch up with what our imaginations are hoping our tours to be. It's also the kind of infrastructure of hosting such an experience.
Yeah, it makes sense.
I've always identified 3 main areas for virtual reality technology that are barriers to widespread adoption of the technology. The first is the wearability of the technology. Right back to the 1990s, when there were those huge virtual reality headsets that never took off, they were way too heavy. And even in recent years, the headsets were quite unwieldy, but they've been getting smaller, and they've also been getting lighter and easier to use. That's one. And the second is the cost of hardware. The earliest VR headsets were around $40,000 US. No one could afford that. When we started out, it was 2016, Samsung Gear VR headset retailed at around $700 US. And now the Oculus Go, which is far more sophisticated, is very affordable, around $399 US. So that's come down as well. And the final barrier is the ability for people to create content. Before the advent of open source 3D modeling software and platforms, creating compelling content was only in the hands of VR Hollywood studios with millions of dollars of budgets. But with the advent of more democratized 3D and app development platforms, it really opened up the playing field to individuals and small and medium businesses. So those three barriers every year, lowering and lowering and lowering. I think they're connected.
Yeah. Makes more sense. Makes sense. Well, we are receiving a lot of questions, but I think that I will start now some questions from audience. Okay. And this is I will not be able to publish all of them, but we can like discuss some. This one I think is really interesting. AR, VR glasses or holograms? Who will win the run?
I think in the short term, the glasses. Holograms, I mean, again, going back to the limitations of current technology, it would be far superior to a glass, but I think there's a lot more work to be done there than there is for making the VR glasses. So I would say short term, the glasses, definitely.
Okay. And long term, the holograms.
Yeah. I mean, if it's like the science
Okay.
fiction kind of holograms.
Okay. We are not talking about the ones. Okay. What do you think, guys? And Ollie.
For holograms in terms of travel, I think that's a long way off, but there's so much possibility. I mean, you could have Julius Caesar taking you around ancient Rome. So, I mean, there's certainly a lot of brilliant things you could do, but I can't really speak about that particular technology and how far along it'll be in 20, 25 years.
Okay. Yoni, Canon, do you want to add something about that?
I can add I tend to agree that holograms are superior in the experience, but they do lack some of the access to your senses, for example, vibration and so on. So it's probably going to be some mixture of both at some point. But the VR and AR are much more advanced in terms of their accessibility to the market at the moment. So probably they're going to have some edge on the holograms, but it's going to be a full thing at the end, the full suit. You know.
And eventually, the problem on the new technologies is always if you try to make it happen too soon, you will just it will just fail, So yeah, I'm with you. It's like it's a future thing. Eventually, we will move on there, but it's something that it's kind of it's like the curved TVs at some point, Some years ago, everyone wanted to buy a curved TV. Now they are out of the market because people understood. Okay, we are not ready yet to have like this in home because I want to have people see on like the sides of the screen, and if it's curved, it will not give the full experience to everyone. And it's kind of that the technology is not yet there. I would say.
I think also, just one final note there, that it's important to note that Facebook and Apple are rumored, well, Facebook not rumored, but Apple is rumored to be developing sophisticated AR glasses for mass market right now.
Yeah. Well, I have another interesting question here for you. Do you think that VR live streaming could have solutions adapted for blind or deaf travelers? This is an all new area, right? What is your point of view about using these technologies to allow people that wouldn't be able to travel to now discover,
Well, absolutely for deaf travelers, because you could have subtitles. So you would still see all of the images, and then if there was any text, you would be able to read that. So that I think can already be done with technologies. For blind travelers, I'll let someone else pontificate on that point.
I think for blind travelers, it would be, a pretty easy translation of the same technology that's used in like descriptive audio for TV shows. If you've ever, I've accidentally hit that button on my remote a few times, and it describes what you're seeing. It's it's not describing every element of every scene, but it does tell you kind of people are walking by, or describes the colors of the buildings and what's going on. So I think there is an easy translation of that already existing technology that could be used for a VR tour. And like Holly said, for deaf people, a much easier programming feature, because it's mostly just adapting closed captioning for what the audio would be saying.
I also think in terms of blind people, that it would be an imitation of what their senses would pick when they are really live on location. So when they are really live on location, they don't pick the visual either. So it would be whatever they would pick, either the sound or the smell or whatever their senses can receive. It will receive the same thing. So on the other hand, live stream can just add to it in that sense.
There's also been a lot of development in volumetric and stereoscopic sound. So correctly mapping the environment to the left and right ears to give us a spatial sense of echo. And a lot I haven't seen much research on this lately, but maybe 5 years ago, on haptics for objects that stimulate roughness and smoothness and edges when you touch objects virtually.
Yeah, and I know I'm just hosting the session, but in these things, I think that there is always, I don't know if you agree with me or not, two different things that we need to consider. It's the people that already born blind, so they don't have a mental image how the object looks like we do, because they never have saw a watch or never have saw something, because they are already born blind, and people that turned blind during their lives. And it's a totally different way to make this kind of integrations, because when you don't have a mental image of the object, even if you describe it, it's harder to make the full experience, but we will go there. And I think that there is a really interesting road to cross here between, and really nice connections between these kind of technologies that you presented to us today and the medical technologies that are also making virtual reality happening for the people with this kind of limitations. And at the same point, maybe this will cross. Do you agree? And I'm imagining like a blind person that have like a chip that allow her to see. You can like integrate the image or something. Now we are not like in fiction right now, but what do you think?
Part of it is already happening. There are some devices that allow you to have like artificial hand for people who don't have a hand, and then it connects to this. It's connected. You can move it with your brain, with your thoughts, as if a real hand. So there is already some work being done, and it's working, not as a real hand, but it can pick up some commands already. So I guess it's the same idea in that sense.
Yeah.
By the way, for deaf people, what we were speaking before, there was just an article in the news in Israel here just the day before about it was a music show, and there was someone translating with hands, but she was doing it so good because she was moving with the music, not just showing the words that the singer is doing. And the singer liked it so much, so he put it on the main stage. And he said, "Look, you're stealing the show. You're doing it so great." So, in that sense, even if you have subtitles, if the subtitles are moving with the music, or whatever other indicator that's showing what's happening, in a different way, that can also work.
Yeah, sure. Okay, we have another question here. I think that we have already answered that more or less, but we can use it as an excuse to go further on this question. But do you think that after pandemic stabilizes, people will still go for virtual tours instead of going there physically? We have already discussed that. At least some people can't go there at all. But what do you think?
I actually have some thoughts about this. Actually, even backing up before the pandemic, there's been a movement in recent years towards slow travel, towards going to one place and staying for longer, not doing the type of tour, 10 countries in 2 weeks. If it's Tuesday, it must be Belgium, really being more mindful and slow about travel. Yeah. And especially now with COVID, people don't want to be in and out of airports and train stations and planes all the time. So I think now if people can take these VR experiences and travel in an alternative way that allows them to still have an intimate and individualized immersive experience in a place, when they think about where they want to go in real life, they can make more mindful, well-informed decisions about their real travel. So it's in a way that they work in tandem. So during the research process, or instead of a real trip, you take a virtual trip. And then if there is a place that really resonates with you, you can go there and go there for longer and really spend a lot of time there. So in that way, VR travel can both replace but also encourage real life travel.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's something that I talk to a lot with partners is some of them say, well, but we want people to come in person still. This is going to take business away from us. But I say to them, look at it as a promotional tool. It's a sample of what you're offering them in person. Going back to the points that we were talking about earlier, it's not going to completely replace the in-person experience. So look at it more as an inspirational tool, like a travel guidebook. Nobody complains that Lonely Planet's going to take business away from in-person travels. It's it's just a different version of that can be a way for saying, well, that looks like a beautiful place. When we get there, let's go and explore that neighborhood or that museum. So I think it's more of a tool to help boost in-person travel, regardless of where people are, instead of taking away.
Absolutely.
I think of it for people to go online. And people feel more comfortable with consuming those kind of virtual experiences. The kind of VR virtual tours, whether live stream or not, it sort of make, I would say, the word more accessible. And this is relevant also post-pandemic, removing those barriers of time, mobility, bureaucracy that enable you to explore places that otherwise you didn't have the opportunity to. I think it is relevant also after hopefully the pandemic is totally behind us.
Yeah.
I also think that it's very hard to compare a 2-day visit to Tokyo to a 1-hour live stream session in Tokyo. It's not the same, and it will never be the same. So, and when I want to fly to Tokyo, I would go to Google, I will search a bit about Tokyo, I will find out what's going on there. Maybe I'll go to YouTube to see a few videos of new places. So this is another way to feel it, a 1-hour live stream session there, VR or not.
I guess let's not forget that some of the most successful virtual tour experiences, are attractions themselves at a destination. So when you're visiting a country, one of the activities is a virtual experience.
And selling points. They are also selling points for the destinations.
That's right, yeah.
We have some of our tours, some schools integrated the tours during the pandemic into their curriculum all the way to 2022 already. So I think even the teachers and educators, they understand the potential in combining that kind of experience with the regular way we teach.
Makes sense. Okay, we will not have time to all the questions we are receiving. But we have here one that is kind of funny. It's not in our Facebook, it's in one of our partners, so I can share it here on the screen. But it's basically, what is the most awesome thing you think your technology will allow us to do? I think this is a great one to answer.
Well,
your mic is off.
Oh, you can't hear me?
Oh, we can hear you.
No.
Okay.
Oh, my mic? No. Oh.
Yeah,
I was just going to say,
wasn't.
just the first thing that comes to mind of our technology is being able to hold up the tablet or phone, let's say the Colosseum, and you see what it looked like in the beginning and now. It reminds me of that popular meme that's going around, sort of how it started, and this is how it's going.
Your case is pretty obvious. It's like time travel. Come on.
Yeah, I love that before and after, and when I can't wait to actually be in the moment and experience it in more places, just right in front of my eyes. I think that's because that's something when I travel, I always wanted to do. I always wish I could see it. So I think that's pretty exciting.
And I would add to that that the most extraordinary thing I've seen with our technology is the amount of people who've cried tears of joy at seeing these cultural heritage sites restored to their former glory. I've seen it in Greece, I've seen it in Israel, I've seen it all around the world. It's amazing.
I think also another point about accessibility is getting places that you can't go in person. So, with something like a pre-recorded tour, it's a one-time recording session, so you can go behind the scenes. You can go where the general public isn't able to get to on a regular basis and have thousands, tens of thousands of people see it without having tens of thousands of people walking through and potentially damaging the site or getting in places that are. Also with underwater VR, most people don't have scuba diving licenses. Most people can't rent a submersible or something for the day. So having this technology open up places like that's quite an exciting opportunity because, it's accessing places that people will probably never see and might not even know exist on Earth. So I think that's quite an exciting part.
Yeah, and also, Bryce, to your point about places being over-touristed, we mentioned that some people might think this would stop people from traveling. In some destinations, there are too many people traveling, so this is a way to control those numbers. And if some people are exploring it virtually, some can explore it in person, and that will be a more sustainable solution.
Yeah, sure. Yoni, what do you think? Canon?
I would say that.
Yeah, I think one of the. Oh, sorry. That's one of the things that the cool thing that I like about the ability to be at another place, like fraction of a second. First of all, we offer few tools that were sort of around the globe for audience that they ordered in advance. So it was 20 minutes here, and then in a second we're jumping to another place, watching 20 minutes in another location, and exploring it, and combined with the interaction with the guide, but also as a social event. The fact that it's a social event and people are traveling together, sort of, in a virtual way, of course, but they can consume together the same experience. It's not like a pre-recorded thing that you're sitting by yourself and watching the tour. It's very nice, but the social dimension of it is very important, and the live, this is, I think, the cool thing. Being live, being social, these are the things that are the game changer in our life.
It's important to say that when we say live, it's also live with the locals. I mean, we have in some tours, talks with locals, and our participants really ask the locals questions, and they enjoy just saying hi and, talking globally and real life with someone planting the rice at the same second they're talking to you from the other part of the globe. And as Kenan mentioned, it's not only jumping to different locations, it's sometimes experiencing the same event in different places on the world. For example, we did that for, I think it was the New Year. So you can see the New Year happening in live in different locations, and again, interact, hear a guide explaining of the local customs and so on. So that's something that is totally impossible by flying. So.
Well, it's something that little Domus no can't do. It's like it would be nice to talk with the ancient Romans and.
We have them walking around in their togas. They're there.
They are there. They don't talk, but yeah. Guys, it was really great to have this chat with you, this discussion. Unfortunately, we don't have time for more questions. I would like to thank you again for being here and tell us something about what will happen in this industry in the future. For the ones that are listening to us, we will come back at 2 p.m. in Portugal, 2 p.m. GMT +1. Okay, to more discussions about the future of tourism. I want just to remember you, because some of you send me questions that are specifically for one of or to the speakers, that you can also join the speakers in the networking area of the virtual fair. So if you go there, you can go to the tables of the speakers and you can meet them. And I understand that probably some of you, because you told me on the comments, also prefer to watch the next session. So you can also in the virtual fair see the contacts of the startups and send them an email. Okay, but you can you can send direct questions to the speakers, and if you have the time, you can go to the networking area, join the table where the speakers are, and you can talk face to face like this, like in video. So this discussion can continue there. Okay. Thanks again for everyone. For the audience that are listening to us, we'll come back in 1 hour. Okay, and see you all soon. I think it was really great.
Thank you very much.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Great talk.
See you all soon. Thanks again.